Michelle Vermolia, and I am the president and CEO here at Woodland Pond. Welcome to all of you. I'm so glad to see everyone. You're going to have a fantastic day today. This is going to be so informative for you. I am so happy to see everybody socializing and hearing the buzz. It's a great start to the day despite this never-ending dreary weather. Just to give you 1 minute about myself, just to have a little bit of a lay of the land as far as my role. So I have been here at Woodland Pond since we opened in 2009. I started on the finance side. I left the career in public accounting to come into Woodland Pond, and eventually that morphed into me being the executive director and then the president and CEO. So I've been in this role for almost 16 years. Absolutely adore Woodland Pond. I think if you don't know much about us yet, you're going to learn some more today. Has anybody ever been here before? Oh, great. Look at that. They all came back.
And they're all on the list.
So yeah, I share that with you just to let you know that for many of us, actually all of the people I'm looking at in this room, Woodland Pond becomes a home for not just for you, but also for our staff. And we could not be happier than to be here and serve our residents, provide the care and support, and to be here to do anything that for whatever anybody needs. You're going to eat and listen and hear great things today. And are we starting with you?
Yes, you are.
Okay. This is Paul Fargas, and he is going to get started with telling a little bit about whatever he's going to be talking about today.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Michelle said that this is a home, and it really is. It's my home, and it might be yours one of these days. We have been here, my wife and I, for almost 8 years now, and I cannot believe how good the stay is, how great the community is, how caring people are, both the staff and residents. And we looked at some 6 places before we came here. And we had 2 lawyers and an accountant look at all the finances and the legal requirements of all the states in which we looked at this. New York State is very tough on continuing care communities, and it was one of the reasons we selected this, because they're so careful about it. We also added up our expenses where we used to live, and the expenses we anticipated here. This place costs, believe it or not, $4 more a month than it would have cost us to stay where we were. So there's no snow shoveling, clearing the yard, no taxes, no mortgage, and the cost comparison was only a few dollars difference for us. We also came here because we do not want to be a burden to our family, to our kids. And that meant a lot to us, to have the security of this place, that if our health declines, we know we're cared for, and that we're not a burden to them. I think I've said 3 times already that it's a wonderful community. There are tons of things to do. There are some 52 special interest groups, and that doesn't include committees if you feel like joining any of those. There are lots of events, concerts, movies, affairs in the community itself. The place, I started to say the place is a wonderful community. One of the best lessons of that was during COVID. Within hours of the time people knew about COVID, the dining room was closed. There was an organized way of delivering food so everybody would eat every day. I understand that over 500 masks were made within 2 days by residents before those N95s came in. So there's a lot of, for lack of a better word, togetherness here. I'm a hiker and an outdoorsy guy, and you have some 70 miles of trails within a few miles of where we are. In the woods, in the preserves, in the state parks. I'm also a woodworker, and there's a wonderful wood shop down in the cellar. If any of you want to see me, and I'll take you down there and show it to you. All of the tools there have been donated by the residents, and they're all there's a quite good group of men who know what they're doing, and we make and repair things and have a craft show at the end of the year. I couldn't be more satisfied with my life here. And to repeat something that a 90-year-old man told me. If you're coming here, better 5 years early than 5 minutes late. I thank you.
Good morning. I'm Dawn Sangre. I'm married to Paul Farges. We were walking up here to come to the panel today, and we were a little late, so we were trying to move along. But Paul gets stopped in the hall to talk to people, so I keep moving, and he keeps dragging. And he was talking to 4 or 5 people on his way up here. That's the kind of place this is. I can't get out of the dining room because he has to stop and chat with people. He says the other way around. That's true too. So when I came to Woodland Pond, I was still working. Paul was retired. I was still working. I was commuting, and for the first couple of years I was here, I enjoyed the meals and socializing and living in my apartment, but I really wasn't here. And then I retired. And I went to see Michelle, you know, that young woman who looks like she's one of your kids? Don't be fooled. I went to Michelle and I said, okay, I'm here now, what should I do? And she said, nothing. Don't do anything for at least, 6 months. Let yourself settle, figure out who you want to be while you're here. And she also asked me what I was interested in, and I said, kind of off the top of my head, I said, I was interested in sustainability. And then Michelle and I began to work with a group of people here to establish a sustainability committee. These days, it's one of the most active committees here. There are like 50 people involved. We do all kinds of projects. The ones that I'm involved in right now have to do with replacing the lawn grass with native plants so that we have less lawn and more plants. And the latest controversy around that has been around dandelions, because we stopped putting chemicals on the lawn this spring. A great triumph for the Sustainability Committee, which immediately produced all sorts of controversy because people didn't like looking at the dandelions. So that's what we do in sustainability. We talk to people about why it's better to have dandelions than it is to kill the bees. I also have a garden here. Paul and I live in the south wing on the bottom floor. It's a great southwest exposure, and the first year I was here, I had a garden around my porch. And the second year I was here, I had a garden along the wall because I asked if I could open up more gardens, and they said yes. So now I have a garden again all along the wall. And then the third year I was here, I opened a garden in the back on the retention wall, and that garden is all native. I'm also a singer. I sing with the Pondoliers, which is our in-house chorus. There are people in the Pondoliers who have never been in a chorus before and can't read music. It's quite amazing. I also get to sing with another group that's based in Woodstock. It's called Ars Chораlis. And we are doing the Fore Requiem in Maverick in June. I'm inviting you right now to come. It's going to be stunning. So, the takeaway for me, residents drive the activities here. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. You can do what you want. But if you want to be involved in something and it's not already happening here, you can make it happen. Management says yes here. I wanted to have more gardens, and they said yes. You can open up that wall. You can build back there. Sure, go ahead. People ask me what my plans are for the summer, and I say, are you crazy? Why would I go anywhere else in the summer except here? I hope you come with us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Wayne Lavender. I came here 3.5 years ago from New York City after being a city person for 77 years. But I also had a small place in rural Pennsylvania. That's the past. This is better than the city, and this is better than rural. This is a little of everything. Without the headaches of either of those, at least my experience is that it's great to be here. It's also great to get to the city whenever I feel like it. I don't drive there often. It's easier just to go a few minutes away to the bus station and leave my car there. And in 1 hour and 35 minutes, I'm in Midtown Manhattan. And I can do whatever I want to do in the city, and then come back either the same day or another day. It's very easy. It's close by. There's plenty culture here. Once a month, we have a list of activities to sign up for. There's 15 or 20 every month. There's galleries to go to. There's concerts to go to. There's museums to go to. There's gardens to go to. There's at the Bardavon, there's opera to go to. A little of everything is available. Not too far away is the Culinary Institute. Not too far away in the other direction is the World of Mohonk. And then a little further away is the World of Woodstock and so on. And New Brooklyn, which is what Kingston's now called. So there's a lot going on literally here. I'm on a bunch of committees, the Mental Health Committee, the Welcome Committee, the Nominating Committee, and things that I'm personally interested in, and feel like actually I make a small contribution to the community, and that's a pleasure to be able to. If you go to the Performing Arts Center, the PAC nearby, you'll see some art that's shown, some photographs that a different Michelle has exhibited. There's exhibits here, and there's concerts here. And there's movies Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, almost every week of the year. Oldies, current movies, whatever it is. If you don't want to take the bus, you can drive to Poughkeepsie, 20 minutes away, and you can take the train along the Hudson, which is quite beautiful. And similarly, senior discount, something like $25 round trip. Lifelong learning classes are available here. Of course, Vassar's nearby, SUNY New Paltz is nearby, and sometimes classes are actually held here on our grounds. But wherever it is, it's easy access, and there are loads and loads of courses available, and grand total of $75 a year, and you can take 2, 3, 4 courses, whatever you want. You can take a semester off if you wish. Pets. I'm not active in the pet ponders because I have cats and they're not a problem. A lot of people have problems sometimes walking their dogs because they have a doctor's appointment or they're going away for a few days. But a very active community here. People, the pet ponders, who care for each other's pets. Pets are treated well here. That means dogs and cats. I can't speak for other animals. So I just wanted to summarize that there's a lot going on here. I don't feel like it's a loss to be here after being in the city all those years. It's nice to be a neighbor to the city, and it's very nice to be cultured here.
My name is Mary Lou Dillon.
You may very well forget my name, but you will not forget my husband's name. I am married to Bob Dylan. I'm an only child, and my husband and I have no children. Bob is 12 years older than I am. And together we buried 3 parents. And for those of you who have had that experience, it is difficult. And we don't have an us. So I took Bob out for breakfast one morning because we were in public then, so he couldn't like go nuts, you know, when I proposed something to him. I said, in 3 years, we need to move. And then I went back to eating. Why did we choose Woodland Pond? I chose for us because I wanted to be proactive. As an example of being proactive, when I turned 70, I had my driving assessed because I do not believe that my right of autonomy supersedes the public's right of safety. And I wanted to see if anybody other than him had any questions about my driving. Ladies, I just want you to know I did extremely well. We visited a number of places. I don't remember what Paul said, but we visited 6 places. And in one of them, the person said, well, you'll come back for other visits because we want to see if you'll be a good fit. So I checked them off my list. Woodland Pond was the only place that we visited, the only one that, of course, the staff smiles and says hello. They get paid to do that. This was the only place that residents smiled and said hello. So if you're looking at other places, pay attention to that. Originally, is my voice fading in and out? No, okay. Originally, we had purchased an oak apartment. An oak is 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a den. But we moved into a cedar, which is 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. And after, what we found out is if we moved in, we would move up the list a lot more quickly than if we would just put our name on the list. So after we had been here about a year, we realized ours was the perfect apartment for us. The 2nd bedroom we've made into a den. Since we don't have children, we don't have that many people coming to visit, so we didn't need a guest room. The location was perfect. Right outside of the pub, up on the 3rd floor, we're on the 3rd floor, up on the 5th floor, and our terrace, when there are concerts down here, we don't have to come down, we can just sit out on our terrace and listen to the music from there. And it just turned out to be the ideal placement. If you think that you're not ready yet, and you get put off by seeing people with canes and rollators, and, well, not crutches, so much wheelchairs. After the first month that I was here, that we were here, we don't even notice that anymore, because when you get to meet the people, the other stuff is just periphery. The people who live here are funny and smart and interesting to be with. I actually met a man whose work I had taught about, and it's like, oh my God, I can't get over this. Woodland Pond is very much like our old neighborhood. People here are not intrusive, but everybody's got everybody else's back. And Maddie, who sits right there, she's gonna tell you a really wonderful story that proves what I just said. So, thank you.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Fred Walensky, and my husband Joe and I have been living here for about a year and a half. But our journey to Woodland Pond started a couple of years prior to that, when we realized that our forever house that we designed and built and loved on 15 private acres was not going to be forever for various reasons. And we decided that we should eventually move to a CCRC. We were in no rush, but we quickly homed in on Woodland Pond as the place that we wanted to end up. Besides the location, the facilities, the friendly staff, and residents, we were especially impressed that they were granted the LGBTQ healthcare equality leader status from the Human Rights Campaign. They were the first CCRC to receive that status and one of only a couple of dozen in the whole country to be on the Equality Index at all. So we knew this was a place that would be welcome. This is the culture of Woodland Pond. They're very open and affirming and welcoming to everybody. We didn't want to move for 5 to 10 years, but we wanted a cottage unit. And we were told the cottage waiting list was about 5 to 10 years. So we immediately got on the waiting list. There's no downside to getting on the waiting list as soon as you think you might someday want to move here. The deposit is fully refundable with interest if you should change your mind. If they offer you a unit that you don't want, either you don't want that specific location or you're just not ready to move yet, you can turn it down without losing your place in line. So the sooner you get on the waiting list, the sooner you'll work your way up to the top. Also, if you're on the waiting list, you can join the Future Resident Program, no additional charge. That allows you to visit Woodland Pond and use the facilities anytime you want, to participate in any Woodland Pond activity, just like a resident, and even eat in the dining room at 25% off. And if you're on the waiting list, you may get notified of special opportunities, as we did. About a month after we got on the waiting list, not expecting to hear from anyone for 5 years, we got a call saying they're building 6 brand new cottage units, which will be larger than the current cottage units, have upgraded amenities, and if we made the commitment then to move in when they were finished being built, we can customize all the finishings and pick which one of the 6 units we wanted. Well, we decided that when we moved here, that's what we wanted. We wanted one of those larger cottage units, and we wanted one very specific location, and this would be our only chance to get that. So we took a deep breath and said, yes, and we don't regret it. So in the nearly 2 years that it took for the cottage to be built, we joined the Future Resident Program, came up, visited regularly, we took yoga and other fitness classes, did other activities, watched the cottage being built, and we also met a lot of people, residents and staff. So when we did finally move in here, the transition was that much easier because we already knew a lot of people, we were already very familiar with the facilities, and so we fit right in. Also coming and visiting regularly like that helped reconfirm that we were making the right decision. Meanwhile, we started to downsize as everybody else that moved here. It was a big job, but we went one room at a time and worked our way through the entire house. Joe wanted to get rid of everything, I was holding on to things. Maybe we'll need this, maybe we'll need that, but we went through the house 3 times, and each time we got rid of more and more stuff that we really didn't need. And when it was all said and done, it was actually very freeing and revitalizing. But if this is a job that you don't want to tackle yourself, that's very overwhelming, there's a card on each desk from Colleen Ash, who is a professional organizer, and she's wonderful. She will hold your hand and help you every step of the way through the downsizing, through the moving, through anything else you need in the transition. We were initially a little concerned about moving here too soon. Would we fit in? Would we be restricting our lives in some way? But we realized that we would not be restricting our lives in any way. We would only be enhancing our opportunities and even enhancing our freedom. This is our home here, as Paul said. Just like our home, which was our house, we could do everything that we did there, we can do here. Plus, we have so many more options now for activities and socialization, both on campus and off. There's so much to do in New Paltz, in the greater Hudson Valley, as well as right here on campus. We also found that there are people here of all levels of fitness and ability, including other healthy, active people like us, and activities that would challenge people like us. I never even heard of pickleball until I moved here. Now I joined a group of residents that travels to a nearby court off campus once a week, and we carpool, and we love playing pickleball. And in a few years, when they complete the renovations that they're going to be starting here sometime soon, there will be a gymnasium right here in this building where we can set up a pickleball court right here on campus, so we're looking forward to that. I could never get a foursome together for bridge. Now I play bridge regularly, including a game at 1 o'clock today right after this luncheon. I never had a place to play ping pong or an opportunity to play ping pong. Now, not only do I play ping pong a couple days a week, but I was the gold medal champion of the Woodland Pond Ping Pong Olympic Tournament. I chair 2 committees. I take yoga and fitness classes. I'm involved in other activities. I got active in the Lifetime Learning Institute of SUNY, where I both teach and take classes. And the SUNY campus is only 5 minutes away, but a lot of the classes are right there. So this is a thriving, independent living community. It's not an old age home. It's a place that you should move to when you can take full advantage of everything that Woodland Pond has to offer. And then once you're here, you can age in place and get additional supports and services as and when you're needed. So it's a great place for the rest of your life. Even though we moved here a lot sooner than we planned, we're very happy with our decision. Thank you.
Fred didn't tell you, he makes me call him Ping Pong Master. I'm Joe Cosentino. I've lived here a year and a half, and we've been together 47 years. We met when I was 5. And I taught at Dutchess Community College in Poughkeepsie. I taught theater for 33 years, and I was chair of the arts department there. Well, I was very busy, then I retired. Well, now what do? Well, the minute we came here, walked through those doors, it was home. Everyone was so friendly and warm and accepting. And I just said I was home from the first minute I got here. And I've been really busy. I go to yoga. I go to exercise classes. As you know by looking at me, I'm a bodybuilder. I go to the gym every day. You don't have to be a bodybuilder here. You don't feel bad. I go to the gym every day. We have a pool. There's an art studio. And there's so much to do here. Did you like your lunch? Good. You can thank me. Kidding. I'm on the dining committee, and the committee gives input to the management about the dining. We have 2, not 1, but 2 graduates of the Culinary Institute of America who create the menus here. And we have 4 different options for dinner, and salads, soups, wonderful desserts. There's a vegan option. There's a gluten-free option. And I was so impressed with the menu. That's Phil right there, who's in charge. Yeah, there he is. Yeah. I asked Phil if he could name a fancy salad or entree after me. He said, I'll name a sandwich after you. It's full of ham and loaded with bologna. And we have full service of wonderful wait staff, no tipping, which is amazing. I also joined the library committee. I've written 34 novels. Yeah, and my mother, who's still alive, said, if your sister wrote novels, she'd have written 35. But my novels, like Dick's and Dawn's, are in the library. We have a beautiful library with a beautiful fireplace and sitting area, and there's many, many books. But in the corner are the Woodland Pond authors. There's a lot of authors who live here, and our books are there in the library, which is really great. We also have, as was said, many different resident interest groups. Fred and I started the LGBTQ+ and Allies resident interest group. And we have speakers and movies and music events and discussions. And we had an incredible mixer with LGBTQ+ people and allies from Woodland Pond and the community and SUNY New Paltz. And we had a dinner with the students. It was absolutely wonderful. And we did that at Woodland Pond. And it was Michelle's idea, the CEO, who supported it, and it was her idea. We also, Fred and I, have the Joe and Fred Theater Nights, where we do plays that I've written, or Broadway-style plays, and occasionally we use a guest star, and that's wonderful as well. We have music groups come in. We have religious services here, and there is a van that can take you to religious services, to doctors, to shopping if you don't drive. We have housekeeping. They change our bed sheets every week. Can you imagine how nice that is? They just did it this morning. But the last thing I want to talk to you about is the most exciting. There's a plan for renovation and expansion of Woodland Pond within the next 5 years. Everything is going to be renovated, including the dining, the pub, the art studio. The gym is going to be double in size, with a fireplace-laden waiting room, looking at the mountains, and a massage room, like a health spa. And the exercise room will be renovated, the hallways, the offices, everything's gonna be renovated, which will be beautiful. And the next phase will bring hopefully, it's in the discussion phase now, purchase of the adjacent land and building more apartments and cottages, which would be lovely, and also renovating our health center. One of the great things about being here is that if and when the time comes, we have access to go to the health center, which has rehab, memory care, assisted living, and full skilled nursing, and that will be renovated as well. And a theater, thank you for reminding me, I forgot the most important thing. Woodland Pond is building a theater here, 209-seat theater. And they don't know it yet, but it's going to be called the Joe Cosentino Theater. I've decided this myself. So, as I said, Woodland Pond is a place that you'll call home, as I do. And as Dorothy Gale said, there's no place like home.
Good afternoon. I would be exhausted by now if I were you. I would be worrying about whether I could keep up with life at Woodland Pond. So I have the job of explaining some of the less merry parts of looking at a place like this. Now, I don't know how many people sitting in this room are thinking that they will die here, but the title of my brief talk is Death and Dishwashers. I was going to change it because there was a follow-up, and I was going to call it Mortality and Microwaves. You're getting the kind of general gist. My name's Maddie Lee. I moved here, I think it's 11 years ago, but I'm beginning to kind of lose track of it because I've been here a long time. When I moved here, I was married to a perfectly healthy man, and neither one of us ever thought about death, ever. Even when he was dying, we didn't think about death. It just wasn't a part of our approach to life. Then there's the level in which you don't want to talk about it, and so you don't talk about it. But in fact, Martin developed Lewy body dementia, and he died here in skilled nursing. Now, I had lived with him in New York City, and I had always said that if I was going to be living in the Roman Empire at the time of its fall, I wanted to be in New York for the fall of the United States. But we had a couple of kind of warning things. I don't need to go into that. But one of the things that I think people are afraid of when they move to a place like this is that they're losing their friends, and they're losing the circle that has supported them for so long. The first thing is people love to come visit you, so don't worry about that. They're very happy to come up to New Paltz. But what everybody else has said is true. This is an incredibly friendly place. I also want to put something in there for those of you who are not quite as enthusiastic about knowing everybody and liking everybody. You don't have to do any of that stuff if you don't want to. They don't come after you, they don't recruit you, nobody chides you. So when Martin could no longer be kept safely at home, we lived in a cottage, he was transferred here to skilled nursing. And here's the important part. When he died, they gave me, I don't know, just a couple of hours. They called and said they really thought this was the end. And I raced up here. And without my doing anything, there were 3 women there who were very, very close to me and very close to Martin and were with me when he died. One of them's still here. That's Dawn. Dawn was one of them. That is an example of what happens. I had not known any of these women before. We had certainly become friends, but with my inability to think about hard things in the future, I certainly had not thought about end-of-life decisions. Okay, that's all there is about death. Now about that dishwasher, or the microwave. We lived in Manhattan in a very nice co-op on the Upper East Side. It had a wonderful super, it had a terrific maintenance guy, but when the dishwasher died, it meant you had to wait for a day or 2 for the super to come. The super had to decide he couldn't handle it. He called the maintenance man. Maintenance man couldn't handle it. Okay, you gotta buy a new one. You're in New York. I was working full time. You have to choose your dishwasher. You have to do comparison shop. I mean, you don't have to, but it's a good idea. Then you have to wait for delivery for that, and then you have to wait for an appointment for delivery. Fast forward. We are here in New Paltz. Dishwasher is making perfectly terrifying noises. I pick up the phone and I call maintenance, and they say they will come right down. They do. They look at it. You know what it's like when somebody goes, you don't want to hear what they have to say next. But they did. They said, we can't fix this. And I thought, oh God, what am I going to do? An hour later, maybe 2 hours later, there was a new dishwasher. And 3 hours later, it was installed. And I had made 1 phone call, and there was no charge for this because it was part of the equipment. You don't have to join any of these groups. You can find the level of engagement that you want. They're not going to come after you, but they're going to be available if you want it. And then I want to repeat what Paul said, which is, if you wait, or put it a different way, better 5 years too soon than 5 minutes too late. Or, as a very tough-minded younger friend of mine said, you gotta move when you can still memorize the way to the bathroom.
Hello everybody, my name is Dick Barry and I'm the old man in this group. I've been a resident here for 14 years, a long time. There are staff members who can remember when I had hair. That'll give you some idea of how long I've been here. I came here not knowing anything about the Hudson Valley, about Woodland Pond, not knowing anyone in the community, and it was a real gamble. I had visited 5 other communities, and yet I kept coming back to Woodland Pond. And as other people have already mentioned, it was primarily because of the residents themselves. Everyone was smiling. Everyone seemed to be happy and contented. I became suspicious that they were all on medical marijuana, but that didn't prove to be the case. They were just very, very happy people. And eventually, the library, which is just beautiful, I hope you visited it, and you should know that every book in that library has been donated by the residents, which is an indication of the intellectual heft that comes with this community. The swimming pool was large enough to do laps, and I'm a lap swimmer. Everything was just right, and it just spoke to me, and I've never regretted the decision that I've made. It was convenient to Manhattan. It had, how did you spend the pandemic? This is how I spent the pandemic years, secure and safe in my apartment, because everything has already been mentioned, but I want to emphasize, everything was delivered to my door. My meals, my mail, my prescriptions, everything. The only time I had to leave my apartment was to visit my doctors. And that was a great, great relief. And when we were given our COVID shots, all 3 of the shots that we received were given right here in this community. So we didn't even have to leave to get our shots. Maddie has told you a story about a dishwasher. I'm going to tell you a story about chicken soup. I was a singleton when I came here. I was divorced after many years of marriage. My children were deceased. I had no family. And I wondered how I might fit in. I had only been here for about a month, and I came down with a bad chest cold. I was overwhelmed with solicitude, with notes and telephone calls. And one morning I opened up my door, and there on my shelf was a bowl of homemade chicken broth. And at that point I knew that I had truly made a very, very smart decision. I want to emphasize a particular aspect of Woodland Pond that we don't talk about that much, but which is it's really a hidden asset of Woodland Pond. We have a wonderful resident council that gives advice and counsel to Michelle, but we also have a superb board of directors. How do I know that? Because it's been my privilege to serve on the board for the last 9 years as the board secretary. I had previous experience in my professional life of serving on 7 different boards, and based upon that I could make a very good comparison as to the quality of this board. And I'm here to tell you that in terms of high functioning, productivity, dedication, this board is truly, in my estimation, number 1 on my hit parade. It's really, it is a hidden asset to Woodland Pond. I know I'm speaking for everyone here on this panel when I invite you to really give Woodland Pond your full attention. And if I have one message, it's this. Please don't wait until you have a major health problem to think about really coming here. You can really, really enjoy everything that everyone has enumerated for you so beautifully as a resident when you're in good health. And we have so much to offer you in a full life, and also with the knowledge of the security that you will feel in knowing that you will be here, and all your future needs will be taken care of, and your friendships will continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. My name is Shannon Scatoro. I'm the Director of Marketing at Woodland Pond. Just want to say thank you again to all of our residents for sharing their stories. Lunch will be coming out shortly, so now is when we can open up questions from the audience, if anyone has any. All right.
What kind of
For the interment, do you have visits from children and grandchildren if they want to stay over, like say for a weekend or something?
Accommodations for visiting families.
My grandson Peter, who is 9, comes with his dad, and they stay in the guest room if it's available, and they stay in one of the hotels nearby if it's not, and he loves the pool. So he loves to come to Grandma's house because he gets to swim.
Last weekend, relatives of mine from Hawaii, on their way to New York City, stopped and stayed here for a day and a half. I have a 2-bedroom, they had 1 bedroom, I had the other. And so it cost them nothing, it cost me nothing, and we had a great time, despite the weather.
Ready? Okay, I recently heard from someone that the renovation that you're planning to do, which I thought was imminent as well, but because of a bankruptcy of a continuing care community out on Long Island, which hit the news and I read about, that things are sort of stalled, and I'm just wondering what the status of all that is.
Hi, I'm chair of the finance committee here, the resident finance committee, so we've been up to date on that. It's not really directly related to that one bankruptcy, which is a very rare thing. What has happened is everything is in place for the renovation, everything has been approved, except the Board of Health has sort of put a moratorium on all approvals for additional financing at the moment. We're working towards resolving that. We suspect that the reason is because this one CCRC did go bankrupt, and now they're sort of reeling and they're sort of holding their breath before they give any additional approvals. But it will happen, it's just a matter of time. We have a number of other CCRCs that are in the same boat, and we're all getting together, all the CCRCs in that same boat that are looking to renovate are banded together and have a common lawyer, and they're working through the process in the Board of Health. So hopefully, we don't know exactly when, but that should be taken care of soon. And while you brought that up, CCRCs, of course, any business can go bankrupt. It's very rare. New York State has the highest oversight of any state as far as CCRCs, and so there is a lot of oversight, there's a lot of warning. Woodland Pond is in good financial health. As the chair of the finance committee, we keep on top of that, we observe that. We have 100% capacity filled. We're filled 100%. The only CCRCs that have ever had financial problems have been under 70% full, and then they start having people are reluctant to come there, so they get less and less and less. We have not had that problem at all. So I feel pretty confident in the finances here, and the renovation will happen hopefully soon.
How are the renovations being financed?
The renovations are being financed by additional debt funding. Most CCRCs are funded by debt, by bonds. There's bonds that are sold, and we have bondholders who have dedicated the money. The money is there from the bondholders to do this. Woodland Pond has always paid all their debts regularly with no problem. But there will be some additional bonds sold, so additional funding for that.
And just to piggyback on that too, we're looking to expand as well. So the plan is for the expansion to also pay for it, right, this project as well, so it ties it together. You're welcome. Any questions?
Hi, I guess I'll stay with the Debbie Downer questions. The article that I read about the place in Long Island, one of the issues, I have an only child, and I would be wanting to have the refundable after my death, either 50 or 75. And what happened to people was that there was a bankruptcy, and then they were the last on the list, the heirs. So you say you're in good financial situation, and that's good, and you're expanding, but where would my only child be on the list if there was an issue?
I mean, there's risk in every choice you make in life. The key to protecting that and minimizing that risk is to choose a place that is financially strong. Occupancy, as Fred stated is key. We're 100% full. Our wait list grows continuously every week, and that's what you really want to look for. We also share our audited financials with anyone that wants to take a look or have their financial advisor, go through as well. It's all public knowledge and it's all available for you to look through.
Yeah, basically, that's same thing I would have said.
Any questions over here? Amanda?
First, I'd like to say hello to Fred and Joe. And since you're on the Finance Committee, Fred, you probably can answer this. I see that there is a life care, my glasses on. Life care fee, a one-time life care fee, which is an option, I believe. If you do not take that option, what happens if you then have to move into skilled nursing?
Anybody who lives here, who moves here, has guaranteed access to the health center, to assisted living or to skilled nursing. If you take the life care, your fee, your monthly fee is guaranteed to stay the same as if you were in your apartment, other than some small additional amount for additional meals that they'll be providing. If you don't take the life care, you still have the same access to the health center, and you have, I believe, 60 days that are covered at no additional cost in your contract. After that, you have to pay a higher fee. The cost of the health center will be, the rooms there are higher, so it will be a higher monthly fee. Yes, right, you'd be paying the market rate.
It's 60 days of skilled nursing, then 30 days of assisted living or memory care that are included with your contract.
Okay, and after that, you go up to the market rate. So it's up to you if you want to do this. So some people have their own long-term care insurance that will cover staying in a skilled nursing or assisted living. They opt not to take the life care. We have our own long-term care insurance. We opted to take the life care and have our long-term care insurance because they can cover different things. The life care will guarantee that our monthly services fee will be maintained throughout our lives, even if two people are separated. If one of the parties has to be moved to skilled nursing or assisted living and the other stays in your independent living in our cottage, we pay the same fee as if we were both in the cottage. We don't pay any additional because we have that life care. The long-term care insurance can pay your monthly service fee for someone who is sitting in assisted living or skilled nursing, or it can also pay for aides to come into your home, to your cottage or apartment, which life care doesn't cover. So we have both. So it depends on how much coverage you want, really.
Thank you.
I'm not sure how to ask the question, but if you look at the refundable, whether it's 50% or 75%, and you transition into the long-term care, when do you get the refundable to the?
So the question is, if you have one of our refundable entrance fees, when does the refund take place? Does it take place if you move into the health center? The answer to that is no. The refunds do not get refunded until after you leave Woodland Pond entirely. Whether you moved out for any reason of your own, or if you were to pass away here, then it would be refunded to wherever you designated to go to.
Is there any kind of cap on the increase every year of monthly maintenance fees? Or what has been the history of?
Any kind, excuse me, any kind of increase that Woodland Pond would want to impose has to be authorized and acceptable to a review by the New York State. So that's your safeguard that it won't go crazy.
This is in regard to the life care. I heard you mention assisted living and the healthcare facility. What about the memory care unit?
Yes, it covers memory care as well. Life Care is unlimited skilled nursing, assisted living, and memory care on site at Woodland Pond. You're welcome. Oops.
This is a follow-up to the question that was asked a couple of times ago. Is there, as you pay in any rental community, is there a yearly increase in your fee, like 2%, 3%, that kind of thing?
They just started talking about that. So every January 1st, the monthly maintenance fee is adjusted. Typically trends up, not down, of course. Historically, it's been around 3.5%. The past couple of years, it's increased 4 to 5%. And looks like with everything in the economy, it'll continue to do that for a little bit. Any questions over here? No more questions? All right. Well, enjoy your meal. The residents will start to mingle around after lunch is over to see if anyone has any additional questions. There's also appointment sheets on your table, so if you did want to set up a time to return at a private date, please fill that out and we'll reach out and set up a date with you. And enjoy. Thank you.